Hey everybody, what's up? Today I wanted to show you another sample project that I just finished building. I was working on this game called Toy Trek for a game jam that was going on during December, hosted by Niantic, and I came up with this Rage Game Playground sample project to show off some of the mechanics that I built for that game. This was actually the first thing that I built, so this was like my test environment to try out different mechanics to see if they were fun, and then I was inspired by this to create the final product. So this whole sample project is loosely based off of Jump King, which is a Foddy game or a Rage game. And then if we click on this project, so go to eighthwall.com/DCLN, click on Rage Game Playground, and then you can look at the overview right here. It kind of runs through the custom components that I made for this project, and then you can see the code here, and then we can actually launch it. So let's launch it really quickly. Not all of the mechanics in the sample project made it into the end game. I actually ended up using only a couple of them, but they were all fun to try out. And maybe in the future, if I build a more complete version of the game, I'll use some of these other mechanics. But we start as this little cube. You have this arrow rotating back and forth to pick our angle of jump. And then once you select an angle, so let's click right there. On the left, you can see a power meter increases. So we can increase the power of our jump. So let's try and get it at 90, and we jump really high and fall. And that's basically the whole mechanic for the game. It's like Jump King, so we're trying to get to the top of the platform in Toy Trek. Right here, we just have different environments to test. So we have ice blocks on the right. We have a bouncy block on the left. Ice block has low friction. Bouncy block has a bounce that just makes you keep bouncing. This gray box up top is a regular platform. These red sides right here are ramps that will have zero gravity, and you just kind of slide down them. And then above is wind. So let's try and jump on some of these other obstacles right here. There we go. So we hit the regular platform. We just stuck. If we jump into the wind, you can see it pushes us to the right really forcefully. We can try and jump down. Obviously, it's pushing us back because we're not jumping with a lot of force. If we increase that, though, we can jump. See, we just slid off that. And then let's try and get onto this green block. Oh, you see it just really forces us off of it. There's a lot of bounce going on. So, yeah, these are some of the basic mechanics. We can use the wall. Let's try and get up there just because I want to show you guys. There you go. So it has a lot of bouncing. But that's essentially all of the mechanics of this project. So let's clone it and jump into it just to kind of see some of these scripts and see how I actually set up these blocks too. So I'll clone it and let's jump in. All right, so we are now inside of the game. Let's close out some of these extra entity like folders to kind of make the structure a little bit cleaner. So you can see here, this is just the scene. It's pretty simple. Let's jump into the scripts really fast to kind of show these off. So this camera controller, basically all it's doing is making the camera follow the player. You can see the camera is not inside of the player entity. It's separate. So this is just moving the camera up and down when it grabs the player's position. We have our input controller, which is basically just grabbing the left button click or the spacebar button click of our inputs on our desktop, or if we have a oh no, never mind, I don't have a screen in here, so this one only works on desktop. You can see the submit button that we're looking for is inside of this input manager. We have our left click and our space, so that's how you access that. And then our jump controller is basically rotating the angle of trajectory, and then when we submit the click, it stops it. So let me find that really fast. We're using a state machine, so it's an idle. Then it jumps to set angle. Set angle in that state, we're rotating the arrow left and right. And then once we set the angle, it jumps into setting power. That's when the power meter goes up and down. And then moving, when it jumps into that state, it applies the force in the angle and the actual power to the cube to make it jump. So that's how everything is working in the jump controller. that is just attached to the player, actually to the player arrow. So, because that's what's controlling the angle of everything. We're doing all the animations with this as well. A lot of it's being done inside of the tick. And then the last script is this wind force. So if the character is inside of this wind entity, if it's colliding with the wind entity, then we're applying a rightward force based off of the strength of the wind here. And then to get that effect, we kind of just have, let me pull up the environment. We have this particle emitter, which is just an entity with a particle emitter component here inside of Niantic Studio. So that's it for like the code. Obviously, that's a very quick rundown of the code, but let's look at a couple of these obstacles too, just to see how they work. So this ice platform, if we look here at the physics collider, it has a really low friction. That's why we're able to slide on it. This bounce platform has really high bounciness, so it actually bounces. It doesn't lose any extra force. So the force that you hit the platform at, it resends it in the same value negatively up. So you're not losing any force. Normally, if you have like a bounce of half, you lose half your force until you stop jumping. With a bounce of 1, you would bounce infinitely on top of that platform if we went up and down. And then we have our slope right here. The slope has a friction of 0. So if you hit that thing, you're gone. I didn't end up using that in the game. The only ones, like I said, I ended up using are the ice block and the regular block. The wind I didn't use either, but it was fun to get in there. And in Jump King, that is a mechanic that they have, so I wanted to try and replicate it to the best of my ability. But yeah, I mean, that's essentially it. This is a really simple playground. It's a really fun mechanic to use. Getting this arrow rotation stuff figured out was a little bit difficult, and it took me a little bit of time to figure out some of the angle rotation and how to do instead of Euler angles, which are like degrees and radians and stuff, you have to use quaternions, which aren't a lot of fun, but luckily inside of Niantic Studio, there is a way to convert a lot of that stuff, so it just took me a while to figure that out. But yeah, it's a really simple project, but I was able to use it to build a full game, and maybe I can jump into that game as well and kind of show you how I use those mechanics inside of the game sometime if you guys are interested. But hopefully you found this interesting. Please clone this project, look through it, try and figure out how I did what I'm doing. If you want a longer dive into it where we analyze the code and talk about why I did things the way that I did, then please let me know, and I would be glad to do it. But thank you for stopping by, and I hope this helps you a lot on your Niantic Studio journey. Thank you.